So, hi, this is Chuck Lavazzi, Senior Performing Arts Critic at 88.1 KDHX from my home via Zoom. And here with me is the music director of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, Maestro Stéphene Denève. Stéphane, bonjour.
Bonjour, nice to see you again, Chuck. Thank you.
Same here, even though the last time we were live and now we're on Zoom, it's a new world.
Definitely, we had to get used to that, but maybe we went faster to the future that was about to arrive anyway. So, distance are abolished today, and I'm glad to speak with you indeed from my home.
Yeah. And we are here to talk about the 2021-2022 season, which starts, well, we're recording this on the 16th of September, and the actual first concert of the season is coming up just next week in Forest Park, yes?
Absolutely. There is even one concert before. This Sunday, there is a preview concert at Powell Hall, a kind of, I would say an amuse-bouche, just a way to whet your appetite for the season. And we will play many excerpts from pieces we will play throughout the full season. But then, of course, for me, it's a very, 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 very great event is to meet again St. Louis in Forest Park. This was certainly the highlight of my first season, and the warmth of this audience, the numbers, of course, of people there. It's something I'm really looking forward to be able to do again, because I really missed it last season.
And so, if you're seeing this before then, you'll get to see that concert. Also coming up the week, well, a little over a week from today, the official opening, the 25th and 26th of September. And after that, another concert October 1st and 2nd. And I mention those together because, to me, they kind of typify what's happening with the season this year, because you have new music, you have works by Jesse Montgomery and Anna Klein, and you have familiar works like Tchaikovsky's Fourth, which, by the way, is my favorite Tchaikovsky symphony. I love that piece. But I just thought this was a wonderfully typical, it seems to me, of the approach that you're taking in this season. A great combination, I think, of the old and the new, and the familiar and the unknown.
Well, for me, actually, it should be the normal diet, the normal menu of a season. I must say, it's not for me something that I feel like a mission. It's just something that I do because I love it. I think the symphonic repertoire is alive. We are very fortunate to live in a time where there are a lot of great composers writing really, really fantastic music. And so I just want to offer this music to our audiences because I love it, as simple as that. And so it's indeed a mix of pieces of our time. And during the full season, I think we have 26 different pieces from 20 different living composers. So yes, basically every concert give an opportunity to discover some music that speak to us, speak of our world today, and I love to, of course, make them actually in comparison with the greatest, masterworks of the repertoire. So that's what we do indeed for almost every concert.
And in fact, some of these composers will be familiar to anyone who attended, say, the Chamber Orchestra series, or saw some of the digital concerts. Jesse Montgomery, I know, has been represented, Carolyn Shaw, another good example. And of course, the symphony's done works by Anna Klein in the past. So they won't be totally unknown. And I think people who have not heard music by these composers before are going to be very pleasantly surprised if they're the sort who have been allergic to new music in the past.
Well, let's put it this way. It's really time to really just stop this too old cliche, which is absolutely wrong, that new music would be something difficult or complex or intellectual, and that nobody would enjoy or understand it particularly. This is not the case, and it's been a long time that it's not the case anymore. And myself, I'm very committed to perform only music that speak to me, that give me strong emotions. And for me, a piece can only give me strong emotion if it has a melodic aspect that is satisfying, if it has some element of beauty in the harmonies, and a very exciting rhythm. So, well, you know, if you mix great melodies, good rhythms, and fantastic harmonies, you have just music like it was 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago, 1 century ago, and today. So yes, there's nothing to be surprised anymore, I think, for the fact that new music today is really beautiful, exciting, tuneful, and should not scare anybody.
Right. I know I think we did an interview live just when you've just been appointed music director, and you were talking about your approach to new music. And I recall you saying those same things, that really you'd want to program music that you yourself would want to listen to, and that you hope people would want to listen to again and again. And it seems to me that you have fulfilled that promise over the last few years.
Yes, and that's why, by the way, I like to come back to some composers again and again, because I think it's important to create the right fame for them. And somebody with exploding right now, like Jessie Montgomery, deserves to be played more than once in a season. And that's the case for her. She will have 3 pieces featured. The very first piece of our season banner is from her, and then there will be a piano concerto, a new piano concerto, and finally we will play as well, we'll do the world premiere of a brand new orchestration of her string piece Starburst, which we played last season,
Right.
as a string piece, and now you will see how it expanded to a full symphonic piece, and that's very exciting.
Well, you're doing it with Caroline Shaw's Entr'acte also, which you did as a string quartet version in the chamber series, and now we're getting the full orchestra version.
Yes, it's in this case, it's actually still only strings, but it's a big chamber orchestra of strings indeed. And I'm very excited because for this concert, which is the second week of the season, I'm trying something a bit special, which is to create a new symphony, if I may say, playing back-to-back pieces that are not supposed to be played together. So in this case, for instance, it will be the piece Entr'acte of Caroline Shaw, and then without any interruption, without any applause, it will go directly through Charles Ives' The Unanswered Question. And without applause, again, without stop, we'll go directly into Rapture by Christopher Rouse. And the tonalities, the keys works fantastically. So it just makes a very beautiful continuity on the harmonic level. And I hope it will be a kind of creative journey with those 3 pieces kind of dialoguing with each other. And that's what we do. And I love indeed Entr'acte of Caroline Shaw, which is very special, at a special mood and a very special style. She has a voice, and that's what I love too, by the way, to really find the composer that have a very distinctive voice. She has that.
Well, let me talk about something else first. But this business of playing one piece right after another, attacca like that, to create a whole new piece. This is something you've done before, and I think it's worked very well when you've done it. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if it was during one of your concerts where we had the Serenade de Musique and the Lark Ascending back to back. I mean,
yes, bravo! You have a very, very good memory. Yes, we did indeed the ode to music of Serenade to Music of Vaughan Williams, going into the Lark Ascending. And last season, I tried something else as well. I tried to play the Metamorphosen of Strauss, going directly into a Japanese piece, and the birds sing again. And I personally, I really love the experience, because I think after the Metamorphosen of Strauss, it's so tragic, it's so sad, it's impossible to applaud. You feel so destroyed, and it's amazing that after this apocalypse, if I may say, of the full civilization, suddenly the Japanese piece offer some birds singing, and you think, yes, indeed, so far humans have been certainly really destructive, have been so crazy, and yet the birds are still singing in our world. So we need to keep hope and stay optimists.
In fact, I recall feeling the same way when I heard that. I think I said as much in my review. And it's, something similar happened with the Lark Ascending followed by the Serenade to Music, because the Lark Ascending is often seen as a musical application. This is the poem of the soul's ascent to heaven. And when you get to heaven, it's full of music.
Let's hope.
I think that's a wonderful vision. Um,
Totally.
the other thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, composers like Carolyn Shaw and Jesse Montgomery. They're composers I first heard at the symphony, and it seems like within weeks after I started hearing them, suddenly they were popping up on the radio. I would be listening to Performance Today on NPR with Fred Child, and suddenly it's like, here is Jesse Montgomery Starburst. Okay, I just heard that a week ago. So I don't know if you're on the if other people are listening to what the SLSO is doing, or if it's just one of these things that happens all at once. But suddenly, some of these composers are becoming very popular, it seems to me.
No, I think it's good to see that people notice, and for instance, when I discovered the cello concerto of Anna Klein called Dance, it was really as it was just premiered, and I thought, oh my God, this is really a masterwork. This will be successful. I was sure that this will be a success. And actually, a few weeks ago, the recording of the piece, the first movement, hit 5 million, listening on Spotify. So it is a big success, and I think this piece will become popular, and we will propose this piece actually with dancers on stage, which for the first time it will be with dancers, and I really hope that, for instance, we will be able to say in a few years, well, you see, this piece, the success of this piece with dancers started in St. Louis, and it deserves it, because it's just a masterwork, this dance from Klein. So yeah, it's very exciting to have all these new pieces that are indeed performed a lot, and I think that will stand the test of time and become repertoire.
Let's talk a little bit about the things that you think are really most exciting about the coming season, because I know you love all of them. There are probably some things that you think are especially important deals for us that you're very enthused about, or that you think we in the audience will really love. I wonder what those might be.
So you want me to choose between my children?
Well, no, not
it's very difficult.
not entirely.
12.
Not entirely, but we
12
all,
children.
yeah, but we all, we all have some that we love. Maybe not love, but that we'd like to talk about a little more than others for whatever reason.
No, it's indeed very difficult for me to choose. Something that I'm so looking forward is to be reunited again with the chorus, because they really paid the biggest price for this COVID. Not being able to be together singing weeks after weeks, and they cannot yet be with us reunited on stage until the second part of the season, and so I definitely look forward to do the Sea Symphony of Vaughan Williams. Behold the Sea, this monumental piece that will be exquisitely prepared, I'm sure, by Amy Kaiser. She's really so special, and it's her last year, 27th year as chorus director of the St. Louis Symphony Chorus. So that's a big deal for me. I know there will be a lot of emotions in this performance. And also, I'm extremely looking forward the week after of the world premiere of a piece with our other part of the family, In Unison Chorus, that will perform Family, actually, that's the name of the piece, by Nathalie Joachim. And so to have finally on stage, more than 200 people, and being cramped on this power hall, and close to each other, and hear all those voices, that is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and that is something we've missed. And the symphony chorus does wonderful work, I think.
Oh, we're very lucky. I mean, it's really special. And And I must say, when the COVID hit, we had to cancel the performances of the Damnation of Faust by
Right.
Beethoven, and we had fully rehearsed until the dress rehearsal. And if I may say that, sounds a bit pretentious, but it was really ready to be very special. We had a fantastic cast. The chorus was so good. The French was perfect, I guarantee you. And so it was devastating. But we will reschedule this Damnation of Faust because it's too good. We have to finish the work and offer it to the audiences. So we will do that in a further season for sure.
Yeah, I know we were really looking forward to that over here. And of course, it was scheduled for the weekend when the symphony elected to close down completely
Mm.
because it was just as the pandemic was hitting full force. And that was very sad at the time. Well, since we brought up COVID-19 a couple of times, I guess we should take a minute to talk about the all the procedures that the symphony has undertaken to protect the health and safety of its audience. Because I know you guys put a lot of work into this. I know you were able to actually keep a season going for most of the previous year, which is impressive when many
Yes.
other organizations were closed down entirely. So I know that's a little out of your area of expertise, but maybe if you'd like to talk a little bit about what we're doing in that regard.
No, no. From the start, we took, of course, all the measures to preserve the safety for the musicians on stage and
Hmm.
also for the audiences, and we had, doctors that really and specialists and very, reputable people that analyze the air system in Powell Hall and the distance and what we should do, and that allowed us in a very safe way to still offer some music to our audiences last season. I mean, I was so happy that 7 programs for me, 7 weeks of concerts were still with limited audiences, but
Hmm.
still performed with people in the hall. That was really very good for the soul. And now we are always following all the rules. So there's nothing audacious about it. There's nothing risky. We are able now to welcome people in a way that will allow us to feel somehow more normal, and there will be full forces on stage, and everybody is vaccinated, and which is a key. And there will be a
Yes.
pass for COVID pass for all the audiences. So it is safe really to come. People should not be worried. There were guidance already from when you buy the tickets. You are given all the rules, and all our ushers, I must say, have been fantastic in being very careful and reminding people to do the right thing. So and we're lucky. Our audiences are very disciplined and smart and have reacted
Yeah.
very well and with patience. So voila, I thank everybody actually, because it's this resilience and sense of solidarity that allowed us to just continue to offer music. And by the way, this is this resilience that I want also to celebrate, in this season, because we have many pieces that speak about that precisely. I have to say, we are playing, like the Tchaikovsky 4, which is, with his fate at the beginning and then the triumph at the end of the symphony over the struggle of life.
Hmm.
But then the dance of Klein, the Nielsen 4th Symphony, the Shostakovich 5th Symphony, Beethoven 5th Symphony, I mean, Brahms' first Firebird, beautiful piece, emotive transformations by James Lee III. All those pieces are actually offering a cathartic way to see that we can always overcome our problem if we stay together. And that's what I want to celebrate in this season.
Yeah. Well, I know this has been kind of a common theme for you, for both your concerts and your little pre-concert talks. Especially, I noticed on the digital video series, which I didn't get to talk about because it's largely over now. But those I thought were really nicely done. And I noticed you
Thank you.
usually opened one by talking about how they were about the ways we could come together and find hope by coming together for the future. And I found that very inspiring.
Thank you. Look, it was really my heart speaking, because I realized actually more than ever, I kind of knew it, I think, but I realized physically that music is our oxygen. You know, it's really a kind of connection, a vibration that connects us in such a civilized way, such an inspiring way. And so for me, in this difficult 1.5 years, all the opportunities to make music alive and to be able to offer it was celebrating this idea of hope and resilience. So, so yes, there will be a moment where we will move on from that, but I think it's still time to celebrate that, because it's very powerful, and that really what music does best.
Yeah. You know, and I talking about the video concert series reminded me. Now, is that something that's going to continue? Do you think, even in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we spent an awful lot of money, I have to say. I mean, not me. The institution was kind enough to buy great camera system, and what was fantastic is that really we went for the best possible quality. So we have all these great 4K cameras and system,
And they look great on a 4K TV, I must tell you.
good for you. So, so we are continuing indeed. We are not capturing, I mean, filming every concert, but we will do a fair amount. And with the one that we already did last year, we'll have actually basically monthly some new content, digital content that will appear for the audiences. And this is great, actually. You know, we reached so many people thanks to that. And to my biggest surprise, actually, the number was like crazy. It seems that we have reached kind of 3 million people this way, and all over the world, and also for education, which is fantastic. So, I mean, you know, you have to try to find the silver lining of this crisis, and this is certainly one, is that we went faster to the future where we can offer our music both live and in a digital way with quality. So we can always do better, and I hope we will continue to expand the quality and of the digital content. But I'm delighted that this is already there and will continue.
Yeah, I was glad to see the symphony moving in that direction. I know some of the really big orchestras had, I think it was the Vienna Philharmonic had a digital concert hall and that sort of thing. But this is really a step ahead for the symphony. So I was happy to see that, and happy to see it done so well. One of the things I noticed about the digital concerts is that they are in some ways, from an audience standpoint at least, kind of superior to the live performance, and that you can see the musicians at work close up in ways that would never be possible in a concert hall. I mean, it's not, the sound is not the same, the experience is not the same, but visually it can really be a nice supplement to the live concert, I think.
No, you're absolutely right that it gives another perspective. And so it doesn't compete, because I personally think that there's nothing better than being together physically and feel the energy of all the people sharing music and listening together. That's something unique, and that's why I'm very optimistic that our art form will continue, because it's unique to have this, you know, sound that is not amplified, that is just really the real thing, the real vibration, you know, shared by everybody there. So we're not competing with that, but we can offer indeed, well, a way to have access to that experience whenever you want, which is one thing, of course, and also with this proximity, closeness, and intimacy that can be inspiring in a different way. So sometimes nice to see. You know, I'm very lucky, because when I conduct a concerto, I have the soloist very near me. And sometimes, I mean, like, let's say, my dear friend Gil Shaham, you know, he loves sometimes to share so much that he comes to you, and I've been sometimes a few inches from his instrument, from his finger, because he wants to share. And I love it. It's so special. And I always feel frustrated, because I think I would love to share that. I would love people to like, come see. I mean, see when this gem of the sound, this diamond sound, like where it's created, you know, just with this little finger just vibrating on the string. And I see it from close. So when we film it, we can give something virtual still, but close to the pleasure I have to hear it from close.
Yeah. You're mentioning the soloist reminds me, you're having some soloists in residence again this season, which means you'll have people who will not just be flying in, doing a couple of rehearsals and then leaving again. They're actually going to be working with you over a prolonged period of time. And I think that kind of adds a great deal to the performance.
Yes, and it's actually something that will become more and more more than a trend. I mean, really a new tradition, because once again, I just want people to have the best warm experience and with the personalities of the soloist, and so for me, indeed, it's much better to have a soloist coming for multiple weeks and having different way to express themselves. So, for instance, next season, Nikolai Schepp-Snyder, a very dear friend of mine, is coming in the capacity of a conductor, but he's a fabulous conductor. He actually succeeded Leonard Slatkin as music director of the Orchestre National de Lyon in France, which is a remarkable orchestra, a very good orchestra. And he will conduct the orchestra again that he did before, but he will also play the Sibelius Concerto with me as a soloist, and that's actually a debut. He never performed as a soloist, which is strange because he's one of the top violinists in this planet, on this planet. But he will also play chamber music with the musicians. So it will be a way to really fully see all the scope of his talent, and that is very important. And so we have also Jean-Yves Thibaudet that will come for also another 2 weeks, actually kind of 3 somehow, but 2 in St. Louis, and doing different concertos and doing a recital, and so yes, that is what we want to do, to just have a full experience, not only with the musician, but also the person behind the music, the soul.
So I guess to sum up, the new season is going to be very similar to the old seasons with additional health protocols, but it'll be full-length concerts, you'll have concessions, but everybody will have to wear their mask and they'll all have to be vaccinated. But other than that,
Yes,
it sounds like it's going to be very similar.
At some point, even I hope very strongly that the number will go down again, the bad numbers about COVID, and that we will during the season. Yes, we all pray for that. Actually, get even more into normality. I'm very pleased as well that we can do full-length 2-part concerts, because as much as some people have enjoyed the short concert, and it's something we continue to do, and we will do some different format, like the crafted format, which is just centered on one piece and just for 1 hour. So we will continue to do that, but I think it's essential to have a 2-part concert that allow enough time to propose some rarities, to propose some new music, and dialoguing with other piece of the repertoire, and to do concertos as well. So the 1-hour concert is very limiting, because you basically have to do only a big symphony, or only one overture in symphony, or only a short concerto. It doesn't work really. We need this 2-part concert, and I love that people can discuss at intermission, and discuss with their friends, meet people, and the social aspect of the concert is very important. So for me to come back now finally to a regular 2-part programs, concerts is really something precious.
Which reminds me, one of the things I've noticed traveling is that often when we will go to concerts, they aren't necessarily held always at 8 p.m. Sometimes evening concerts will start earlier. I wonder if the symphony has ever given any thought to starting, say, at 7:30 or something like that. I've noticed that a number of theater companies are doing that as well.
Yes, I think we started to do some of these experiments, and we'll certainly continue. I'm not the best person, because I'm impatient, and I always want to start the concert as soon as possible. It's actually for me a torture to wait a full afternoon before I can do music. If I could, I would do every concert actually very early in the day, that you can just enjoy, the aftermath of the concert, and the pleasure it gave you for the for the full day. But I think our Friday concerts start earlier now. I think that's
Yes, in fact, I just got a chat message from Eric about that the Friday concerts are starting early. So that's good. That's good.
And we do, of course, some coffee concerts the morning as well. So yeah, different timing.
Yeah. I think I've exhausted all the questions I had about the upcoming season, but are there things that you would like us to touch on that I have left out?
No, thank you. Your enthusiasm makes me very proud and very happy.
Oh,
No,
thank you.
what makes me very enthusiastic as well during the season is the lineup of soloists. Well, we do have to start with 7 soloists of our orchestra, and I'm
Good
very
point.
proud that we have so many talents. Actually, we ended last season with a fabulous Mendelssohn with a Celeste Golden Boyer, and many of our musicians have been featured last season, but it's continuing next season. But if you look at the soloists coming, it's stellar. To have in the same season, pianists I mean, obviously Jean-Yves Thibaudet, but also Fima Bronfman and Lars Vogt and Kirill Gerstein, Ingrid Flitter, Jeremy Denk, and Lars Vogt. I mean, Vikingur Olafsson, very interesting artist as well, doing his
He's making his debut, right?
Debut with us. Yes, very
with
special. Don't miss this Greek concerto with him. He's a very special artist. But this is actually as good as it gets, really. That's first class lineup. And the same for the violinist, with Hadelich and Suwanai and Simon Porter. And I mean, I'm very proud that we can invite back those people, and I'm very also impressed that the community in St. Louis has been so generous, really, that the financial has stayed strong during this crisis, and that we can afford actually all those artists that are very much in demand and therefore don't come cheap. So it's if I may say, it's just wonderful that we are in the top of the range for all of that.
Yeah. Well, and I've said this before in my reviews, but I'm always happy to see members of the band get to take the spotlight often, because we do have some awfully good musicians in the orchestra, and it's really refreshing to see them get a chance to stand up in front and become the stars.
Yeah, and it's always a very touching energy, because the SLSO is a particularly warm family. People like each other, love each other, and you feel it. There is a sense of pride and support. When we welcome, just before any soloist of our orchestra, just in a rehearsal, arrive on stage, people already applaud and scream, and there is something very charming with the attitude, and so I think it's good for the orchestra to continue to develop their sense of pride for all the talents they have in their group.
Okay. Once again, I want to remind everybody that the St. Louis Symphony's 21-22 concert season starts, or has already started, depending on when you're seeing this video, on the 25th of September, and will run through next May. If you want to find out more, of course, you go to the Symphony's website at slso.org. Find out all about tickets and what's on the program, and safety information and so on. And again, I'm Chuck Lavazzi from KDHX, and Stéphene Denève, music director of the St. Louis Symphony. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me today.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm even happier to make music for you and for everybody there. I can't wait to start this beautiful season. We are back, and it will be special for sure.
So merci, bonne journée.
Merci beaucoup, c'était un plaisir, Chuck.
Oui. Moi aussi.
À bientôt.
À bientôt.